Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And let me welcome my special guest to the screen. Hello, Sohaer, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Thanks so
I
much
am,
for having me.
thank you so much for joining us. I'm doing well. Hey, let's begin with introducing yourself to our viewers, telling us a little bit about your background and what you are running for.
Absolutely. So my name is Sohaer Rizvi Syed, and I'm running for U.S. Representative, which is different from delegate. It is the Shadow House seat, which interestingly enough, not a lot of people know this seat. So I kind of have to explain that. And I moved to DC about 15 years ago. And living in DC, working and raising my family in DC, I couldn't be alarmed by the injustices I saw. I I realized we're not living in a true democracy, and being a past prosecutor, I couldn't just sit by and watch the injustices take place. Having no voting rights, how can we, the greatest democracy in the world, have DC not have any voting rights? And so I realized, you know what? We pay taxes. It's a myth. People think DC residents don't pay taxes. They get the greatest federal funding. Actually, it is a myth. DC pays taxes. We pay the highest per capita tax, and I think our federal tax level is higher than 22 other states. So there's over 700,000 people that are paying taxes, living here, and we have no representation.
Yeah.
So that for me was like something I was like, you know what? I cannot watch, just sit back and do nothing. And so I had to jump in.
I see that. I see that. Well, tell me, what are some of you touched on a little bit of them, but tell me some of the biggest issues that you'd like to tackle, if elected.
All right, so obviously the biggest, most burning issue is DC statehood, and I think we've come so far. For the first time, we have a first read. The HR 51 bill is in front of the Senate for a first read. I think this is historical and monumental in so many ways because this is the first time it's actually passed the House and the bill is now in front of the Senate. Depending on how the November elections go and the makeup of the new Senate that is seated, we have a really good shot. So I'm feeling very optimistic. And I really want to be like, no more shadow politics. We're coming into the main thing.
I get it. I get it. Definitely, definitely. And I love that you said that because it is a historic moment that it is where it is now. And let's see what happens after the election with the makeup of the Senate. That's very, very pivotal. That's very
Oh,
pivotal.
absolutely. And I think it's just not right. You know, all our cars say no taxation without representation, but
Yes.
really, we pay so much in taxes. Either they need to take away the taxes. That's another thing. I truly believe we should not be paying federal taxes if we do not have a say in how those federal dollars are being spent. So I think there's a lot that needs to be fixed. And as DC residents, we deserve a seat at the table. We deserve to have a say of what's happening. I mean, it's so hard to watch the confirmation hearings. Currently, Judge Barrett is being confirmed, and there's no one we can call. When the national troops were deployed, there was not much we could do other than sit back and watch. So it's very, very incapacitating and
Yeah.
demoralizing. So
Hmm.
I think for me, it's really important that we get to be part of this.
Yes, yes, I agree. I definitely do agree. Tell me something. It's been, a very trying year. It's been a tough year. Tell me how it has been, running a campaign while we're going through a national pandemic.
Oh my goodness. First of all, the pandemic. What a strange year 2020 has been. It has been it's been tough. I actually jumped into this race quite late. I'm running as an independent. I came in after the primaries. And so I actually had a very short time before the application period to get my nomination and my signatures into even to run in this election. But I was lucky enough to get it done. Campaigning has been very hard. Also because there's just so many restrictions. I personally have a young child who's asthmatic, so I do have to be careful about the exposure and what I bring home. But on the other side, I noticed it such an interesting phenomena. People are desperate to talk to other people. People were happy to actually have something other than the pandemic and the virus to worry about and
Yes.
to talk. So in a way, it was almost like it brought the community together. We got to talk about things, and also be supportive. We found out of people who are struggling, and if there was anything we in our neighborhood could organize and get to someone who needed help. Even, I mean, small things, but it's a lot. So I think this pandemic, yes, it has a lot of challenges. Unfortunately, it has brought to the forefront a lot of disparity that exists
Mm-hmm.
in our city. And with the children being homeschooled for most of the time, and parents working from home or parents losing their jobs, I think recovery from this is going to be monumental too, because coming out, it's going to be hard. And another reason why we need statehood is, the CARES Act that was passed
Mm-hmm.
by Congress, DC didn't get a fair share. Most of them got, I think, what was it, $1.25 billion each state, and DC only got 500 million. But we, as a population, are greater than two other states, so we actually have a, a large number of people that actually live in the district. It's not like we're commuters or government workers or just in and out. These are the myths around DC that we need to burst open so people understand these are actual people. We live in this urban area and this is our home. And so the aid, it was just not enough. How are we going to help everyone who needs the help? Congress needs to give back the money that DC is owed. I think we need loud voices, we need fresh voices, we need people standing up and speaking up for DC and for the most vulnerable population and all the disenfranchised voters. So I think that DC, there's a lot to be done, and this pandemic has blown open such a big. It's just so much that needs to be done, and I think we need extra funding. To an economic recovery is going to be slow, so we definitely need to have a good plan of how we're going to go forth.
Very important, very important. Tell me this. Why should voters select you as opposed to your opponents? What makes you the choice this November?
Well, even though I jumped in late, I'm very passionate. I think I bring a fresh voice and new energy, and also a different perspective. Looking I see the problem. Sometimes if you've been in this, I've come from outside DC politics. I am not involved. I'm in an independent, so I come in with an hope to stop this great bipartisan divide that has happened. And unfortunately, DC statehood is embroiled in the partisan divide. There's this fight that DC shouldn't get statehood because it means more Democrats coming in. But I think that we have to look beyond the partisan lines and look at how DC residents, and I mean, it's a large population that needs representation. So I think for me, that is my biggest distinguishing factor. And also, I mean, having a legal background definitely helps understanding the process and the legislative and constitutional issues that arise with trying to pursue statehood. So I think for those reasons, I stand out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And before I let you go, could you please go ahead and share how people can support your campaign and how they can follow you and keep up with what you're doing?
Absolutely. I have a website. It's Sohaer, just my first name, sohaer.com. And I have a Twitter handle that's vote, the number 4, Sohaer. And I have an Instagram and Facebook, which are also vote, the number 4, Sohaer. And all of the information can be found at sohaer.com. So I urge everyone to go visit my website, learn more about me and what I stand for, and what my vision for DC is.
Wonderful. And viewers, the links will be in the description. Thank you so much, Sohaer, for coming here today with me. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, and best of luck on the election.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show.
Of course. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.